Oh, Lucy, is it?
Yes.
Hello, my name's Chester, please. Look, it's Stephen, 2 seconds.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
That is a night that is etched on my memory and will be in my nightmares forever, to be honest.
She was a nurse trusted to care, who chose to kill.
Serial killers target specific demographics. They can be motivated by hatred, jealousy, sexual perversions, fascination, or psychopathic tendencies that are very difficult for a layperson to understand. Outside of TV, they are rare, and even rarer still are female serial killers. However, there is one thing even more rare than female serial killers: female killers who murder the most vulnerable members of society, newborn children. People whose lives have been scarred by the horrors of crime always highlight the importance of trusting your gut. Unfortunately, though, many of us push aside that gut instinct until it is too late. In a profession like the healthcare industry, lives can be at stake, even more so in the area of neonatal care. Hence, those entrusted with the lives of the ill and frail are extremely trusted by staff and patient families alike. This makes the discovery of the convoluted, twisted murders of 7 British babies even more shocking, given that they were performed by a woman who doesn't fit the description of being even remotely violent. Even worse, hospital admin were warned that something truly awful was amiss, but their hesitancy to listen to the source's gut instincts cost more lives. Join us for today's bite-sized episode, where we'll be looking at the twisted actions of the most prolific child killer in modern UK history. In Britain's horror, Lucy Letby, the child killer nurse. Being a member of the medical profession brings with it the sobering weight of responsibility. Doctors, despite trying their best, can't always save patients from their pain and demise, and unfortunately, sometimes face the possibility of being sued. It's partly due to this risk of litigation that healthcare services such as the British National Health Service, or NHS, often maintain a culture of silence. In situations of medical negligence, they protect doctors and nurses from losing their licenses and jobs, and the hospital from losing a lot of money. Several eyebrows were raised in May 2017 when a senior detective at the Cheshire Constabulary received a letter from 2 medical professionals, Stephen Breary and Ravi Jayaram, both experienced in neonatal care and consultancy. The 2 men alleged that the local hospital, Countess of Chester, had experienced a sudden and unexplained spike in the death of newborn infants. Detective Paul Hughes met with the 2 men making the allegation and instantly involved the police. The debacle had been ongoing since June 2015 when 3 babies had inexplicably died. The doctors shared with the police that when infants die, there is nearly always a reason. Since babies are under constant medical supervision, given their vulnerabilities, any poor health or collapse is watched for and action taken immediately. The whistleblowers took the case to senior medical consultants after several more deaths, but the attitude of hospital executives was unhelpful, even negligent. Even despite noting how when a staff member who had been on duty during the time of all 3 babies' unfortunate collapse was transferred, that no more cases occurred. Jayaram and Breary were pressured to keep the suspicious deaths a secret. It was not until 2017 that the police were contacted, and the curtain rose from the disturbing, evil truth. The hospital consultants had already put 2 and 2 together as to who could be causing these freak deaths, that being Lucy Letby. The spiked mortality rate of babies under her care had raised concerns almost right from the time she had started working at the hospital. Ironically, when Letby was relocated to an administrative position at the insistence of hospital consultants, she actually filed a grievance against the hospital. She then returned to her shifts in neonatal care, but was quickly shifted to clerical work when, within 3 days in a row, 2 males among a set of triplets and yet another baby boy died under her care. Unbelievably, the first complaint raised against Letby by the Royal College of Nursing Union decided in Letby's favor, resulting in the consultants and supervising doctors who had made the complaint being forced to apologize to her in writing. By this time, however, the whistleblowers had contacted the police and Letby didn't return to work. The police, however, needed more evidence. Detective Superintendent Paul Hughes later stated that he hadn't initially believed that Letby was the person involved. The police, much like the public when details were released, were flabbergasted in how plain and normal Letby appeared. The alleged crimes of such an ordinary person didn't instantly alarm the police. After all, Lucy Letby lived in an average 3-bedroom house with plushies in her room, hardly the profile of a serial murderer. Evidence started unfolding when conversations between Lucy and a friend came to light. In June 2016, after returning from a trip to Ibiza, she texted her friend, "I am back with a bang." Within 2 days of her being back on the shift at the neonatal ward, 2 triplets were dead. In connection to the murder of 7 babies, Lucy Letby was arrested twice, once in 2018 and again in 2019. The evidence against her became clearer as a search of her apartment in November 2020 revealed handwritten notes where she had detailed her murderous thoughts. "I am evil. I did this. I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough. I will never have children or marry or know what it's like to have a family," were written in capitals on green Post-its recovered from her bedroom. While the defense tried to paint these writings as those of an anguished woman wrongly accused of murdering children, it became clear that the information was literal. It was also increasingly clear that she used her medical knowledge and accessibility to babies to her advantage, carrying out her horrific acts by removing oxygen masks and tubes, injecting air into babies' bloodstreams, overdosing them with insulin, even overfeeding some till they died. The details of the babies' deaths were horrific. A mother who had lost one of her twins reported hearing her child scream in pain at the ICU one night. Her baby was found bleeding, and the last person in contact, Lucy Letby. "It was a sound that should not come from a tiny baby," the mother testified. "I can't explain what the sound was. It was horrendous, more of a scream than a cry." Since the baby wasn't examined upon his death, the grieving mother believed Letby that her baby had died of natural causes. The twin of the deceased child survived an insulin poisoning attempt. The Countess of Chester Hospital Foundation Trust, as part of the National Health Service, delayed contacting the Cheshire Constabulary until early May 2017, nearly 2 years after the cases had been red flagged to senior management, bringing the culture of silence in the NHS under fire. However rare, the murder of patients at the hands of healthcare workers is something that should have been actionable as soon as concerns were raised. At the time of filming, families of the deceased babies are filing a suit against the Countess of Chester Trust for negligence. As well, the UK government has also ordered an independent inquiry into the reporting of medical malpractice in the NHS. For Lucy Letby, her sentence for the cynical and wicked murder of 7 babies and attempted murder of 6 more was life in prison and the title of the most prolific child killer in modern British history. On the 5th of September, when the UK Secretary of State revealed that 5 of the children who were killed by Letby were from Wales, her historical status became international or cross-country serial killer. At just 33 years of age, Letby became the 4th woman in UK history to be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Justice Goss, in his judgment at the Manchester Crown Court, commented that she had displayed a deep malevolence bordering on sadism as she brutally snuffed out the life of the smallest and most vulnerable of children, and that her actions were completely contrary to the normal human instincts of nurturing and caring for babies. Families were traumatized when they learned that the caring nurse who helped choose burial outfits for their deceased babies was actually the murderer who had taken their precious child's life. Although we can hope that the testimonials in the victim impact statement made Letby realize what an awful thing she had done, her absence from attending this part of her sentencing caused anger amongst the grieving families. The mother of baby C's words to the courts summarizes the horrific and agonizing reality of this dark historic case. "No sentence will ever compare to the excruciating agony that we have suffered." Perhaps the only consolation is this: with Lucy Letby receiving a whole life sentence, the families of the departed can find some solace in knowing that no more children will die at the hands of this horrendous killer nurse.